Yes, everybody. Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you're safe and well, my friends. Happy Friday. Love is in the air everywhere I look around. And why don't you go and see your one true love tonight? West Ham under 21s play at Rush Green, 7 p.m. kickoff in the PL2. £5 for adults, £1, I think, for under 18s, under 16s, and free if you bring your season ticket with you. Under 21s on 4 wins in a row now. In the PL2, they play Blackburn, who are towards the bottom of I think Blackburn have about 10, 11 points on the ball, where we've got about 27. We're joint with Man United on third. We're currently fourth, goal difference. So a win could potentially cement that third place currently in the PL2. Go and check them out. Hopefully the weather will be a lot nicer than it was last week, with the rain and just the freezing weather. Hopefully a little bit warmer. But if you can get there, support the boys and support your one true love. But it's Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. Lunchtime today, we did the lunchtime live show, and then this morning we did a little tribute to the late great Ronnie Boyce, who unfortunately passed away at the age of 82 yesterday. Let's crack into it. Lots to get through. The first one being Graham Potter. Graham Potter, our new celebrity. Now, he had his press conference yesterday, which Anton covered. But one of the things mentioned in the broadcast section, or the non-broadcast section, rather, yes, it was in the non-broadcast section, in the embargo section, was a question about Tim Snyder. And Potter revealed that he was planning and wanted to work, the initial plan being to work with Tim and Carl McCauley at West Ham until the club made a decision to remove Steidon from the post. So it was never a case of McCauley in, Steidon out. We know that obviously Tim came in as club technical director and left at the end of the January transfer window, went on gardening leave for a couple of weeks, did a bit of sightseeing around London, apparently, which is fun. I've got visions of him wearing like one of those hats that Joey wore in Friends, because he does like a hat to old Tim when he's walking about. It's fair to say that his relationship strained with with two of Potter's predecessors in David Moyes and Giulio Lopetegui. In both cases, he was banned, so to speak, from the training ground and was made to work at London Stadium instead. That's what we're led to be believed, although we never really knew the true extent of that. And obviously, midway through the January transfer window, Potter convinced West Ham to pay a considerable amount of compensation. Something that the club, well, Mr. Sullivan doesn't tend to do. Over £1 million, £1.2 million to Chelsea to basically relieve him of his role at Chelsea to be hired as West Ham's new head of recruitment. Now, we know that McCauley is Potter's guy, having worked at every club that Potter has worked at and been brought into. But it was never a case that Potter envisaged the arrival of McCauley being the demise and the exit for Tim. In fact, he was quoted as saying, "No, my thinking was always having two people." That was a possibility, of course, but it wasn't to be. That was the decision the club made. And now I will work with the rest of the staff here at the club. I'm happy with how Carla's settled in and how we're operating as a department, interacting with everyone and everybody that is here. So interesting to see. One other former Brighton old boy we could be seeing in the summer is Adam Webster. A player we mentioned was linked during the January transfer window, but according to Clarence Hugh, it understands that Potter is very keen on bringing him in and actually has a priority in the summer. An agent source informed Clarence Hugh that Webster could be brought in to provide defensive cover, with the gaffer unconvinced by Dinos Mavropanos. And then to add an extra sort of dimension to that, in terms of the defensive restructuring, Naif Aged, I'm saying it like that because someone criticized when I said never good. Naif Aged, which is how his name is pronounced, could be given a chance to prove himself in pre-season, having had a very impressive performances during his loan spell at Real Sociedad. And I think that makes perfect sense. And I think he, as I said, I was bamboozled that he didn't have a release clause in his contract, in terms of his loan spell, but he wasn't fancied by Lopetegui at the time. So hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But it seems to be that Webster is somewhat of a priority for Potter to bring in. His contract runs out in the summer 2026. Hasn't been used regularly by the Seagulls this season, mainly reduced to cameo roles and cup appearances. But he could be our Craig Dawson, which I think we've desperately missed in all honesty, since his departure. I think that we went downhill when Dawson left. Statistically speaking, I'd have to go through the stats. Actually, I might do it if I've got a spare minute, maybe during the international break. Talking about players on the list, Luizao, you're on the list. The West Ham 25-man squad list, that is. Little Chris Jericho reference. But West Ham have announced, named their new 25-man squad. After the January transfer window closed, every Premier League has to submit a new squad list ahead of this round of matches, which starts tonight with Chelsea Brighton. And they've named their list with two names which stood out a little bit. One being Luizao, the 22-year-old Brazilian centre-half, who hasn't made a single senior appearance for West Ham, and has been there for the last couple of years. And also Cam Schweier, also 22, has been included in the list. I think the fact is they're 22, so that's why. Because you have a Premier League list and then you have an under-21 list with the likes of Evan Ferguson, Luis Guilherme, Alford, Scarles and Casey, all included in the under 21 list. It makes perfect sense to include them if you can. I have no doubt whatsoever that we'll never see Cam Schweier or Luizao make a first team appearance this season at West Ham, but they're there just in case, and they have to be named. Well, not have to, but they're named in that squad because they couldn't be named in the 21-man squad. Quite simple. And that is it, my friends. Thank you very, very much for your time. As per usual, don't forget to check out neesatmanbrand.com for latest news, reviews, and opinions. And if you can get down to the Rush Green tonight, please do. We'll have all the fun of the fair when it comes to the game tomorrow against Brentford, with matchday mornings and all that type of starting 11 shows, all that good stuff. But until next time, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and come on your irons. Love is in the air everywhere I look.